All right, everyone. The biggest, latest astroturf within the legacy media and among commentators is the concept of a constitutional crisis. Link in the description, archived, of course, one of the better examples of this. The idea is that Donald Trump is habitually abusing the Constitution of the United States. That's interesting. You never said that about the Biden administration, attempting to undermine the First Amendment by censoring people, the Second Amendment by attempting to ban various firearms, the Fourth Amendment by invading people's privacy on a habitual basis, the 10th Amendment by not allowing states to actually fortify the border, even though they technically control it. The right to a fair trial was completely violated by the Biden administration, going after its political enemies. Speedy and fair. Yeah, speedy. Yeah, the J6ers really got a speedy trial, sitting there in the gulag for several years. Yeah, that makes sense. The Biden administration violated the Constitution on a near daily basis. The Trump administration, meanwhile, is simply asserting executive powers that have long been, in many cases, recognized anyway. When the court does step in and says, no, you can't do that, well, it ceases, generally pending appeal or sometimes punted back down to the lower courts. So, where's the constitutional crisis? Is it because Donald Trump believes in deporting people? Because every administration's been doing that anyway. It's just a matter of how rigorous they are at doing so. Is it about detaining people? Hmm. They're called Obama cages for a reason at the southern border. Barack Obama, who incepted that particular policy, just wasn't enforced routinely because of overcrowding. Is it trying to go after criminal networks? Is it trying to go after cartel members? I don't understand what the constitutional crisis actually is. They say, like, this is one claim that's absolutely farcical. Donald Trump is trying to silence his political enemies. Yeah, he went to, so in other words, he went to Zuckerberg and Musk and all of these others and decided to distort algorithms and stuff like that. Oh, no, wait, again, that was Joe Biden. Interesting. It's interesting. This is basically nothing more than projection. Basically, you have a captive legacy media and political elite that is blaming Trump for all of the things that they themselves were doing for several years. That's all that's happening here. Donald Trump is not a constitutional crisis. In effect, the constitutional crisis, at some points, oddly enough, rests with the judiciary. A proactive judiciary that is blocking everything that Trump wants to do, pending appeal for absolutely no reason, even though in some cases, anyone with any legal knowledge, certainly a judge or a lawyer or somebody like that, would understand that it was a presidential power. Yes, believe it or not, the president has a right to sit down when he pees. I'm sure that if it was found out that he did that, they would say, nope, you're not allowed to do that. It's unconstitutional. It seems a little bit of activism is going on right now. And we all understand the reason why. The Democrats and the Uniparty in general no longer hold as much power in the House and in the Senate. So they have to turn to the courts. They don't control the executive or legislative branches, so they have to talk suck a bunch of judges in order to, try to talk block Trump. In some cases, it has worked. Honestly, it has. They've been remarkably successful. I mean, for a party as disorganized and scattershot as the Democrats are, and, their uniparty stooge friends over on the Republican side, like McConnell, for such a disorganized movement, they've actually been markedly more successful than expected. But in some cases, they are unsuccessful. Donald Trump, believe it or not, has already been told he can build his border wall. And I hope that he gets to it double quick because optically that would be a good thing. Believe it or not, Donald Trump is capable of holding meetings diplomatically with foreign leaders. In fact, it's one of his job descriptions. I note that the prior administration was much more reluctant to go to certain countries in the world to meet with people. Um, these are presidential powers. the ability to conduct diplomacy. You're the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces, and technically of the militia, although, organized mustard militia tends to be a rarity these days. Suppose he can get some Black Rock mercenaries over there and kick some ass or something like that. He could do that. It would actually be allowed, and so forth. And of course, you have the power of the veto and so forth because you're the chief executive. But the courts are effectively telling him he doesn't have the right to do things that he quite clearly has the right to do. Any plain text reading of the law and of the Constitution would construe many of the things that they're bitching about as presidential powers. There is no constitutional crisis. The entire term is nothing more than an astroturf. The legacy media is trying to whip people into a frenzy to get riots started. What they want to happen is what happened in Washington, D.C. itself, actually, on actual Insurrection Day many years ago, when groups of violent rioters attacked local businesses, burning them to the ground, and then injured a whole bunch of Secret Service agents while trying to breach the White House, forcing it into lockdown mode. That was the actual attempted insurrection. It was not J6. Um, it'll probably happen again. Not to put too fine a point on it, but White House security should be doubled because leftists are violent people in many cases. They appear to take great glee in burning local businesses and then turning their attention to the White House and things like that. They literally did that. I noticed that got memory hold. J6 is like the Democrats take a knee every J6. But nobody remembers the attack on the White House itself. No, nobody remembers that one. Even though it was far more violent, had far more injuries and casualties, involved a lot more people, and a bunch of businesses burning, and literally forced the White House into a lockdown, necessitating that Trump and his family were literally spirited off to a bunker. And then the liberal media said, well, this is coward Trump. Now he's hunkering in the bunker because of some protesters outside. Thousands of them that were being exceptionally violent and sparring with his security forces under protocol in which he wouldn't even be allowed to say, no, I'm not going into the bunker. The idea that the President of the United States doesn't have limitations on their capacity in that sense is completely wrong. The Secret Service would just carry him into the bunker if he didn't want to go. It would have been funny. But can you imagine how funny it would be? Trump just, he grabs a revolver and he's like, yeah, I'll take care of them myself. And then Mr. President, you can't do that. Well, fuck you. And so they have to restrain Donald Trump and drag him into the bunker. That would be funny. Melania's there with the AK-47 and shit. That's something that I would like to see. It's something that I think believable, actually, come to think of it. But no, there is no constitutional crisis whatsoever. Oh my God, Trump did something that the judges overruled. Okay, well, it's been overruled and blocked, so where's the constitutional crisis? Doesn't seem to exist. Seems to be a red herring of sorts. That's about all. Peace out.